right, my friends. So we're finishing up chapter 28, verse 16 to the end of the chapter, to 29. Okay, so therefore, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believeth shall not make haste. Judgment also will I lay to the line, and righteousness to the plummet, and the hail shall sweep away the refuge of lilies, and the waters shall overflow the hiding place. And your covenant with the death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand. With the overflowing scourge shall pass through, and when you shall be trodden down by it. From the time that it go forth, it shall take you. For morning by morning shall it pass over, by night and day it shall be a vexation, only to understand the report. For the bed is shorter than a man can stretch himself on it, and the covering narrower than he can wrap himself in it. For the Lord shall rise up as in Mount Perazim, and shall be wroth in the valley of Gibeon, that he may do his work in strange work, and bring to pass his act, his strange act. Therefore be ye not mockers, lest your hands be made strong. For I have heard from the Lord God of hosts a consumption, even determined upon the whole earth. Give ye an ear, and hear my voice, hearken, and hear my speech. Doth the plowman plow all day to sow? Does he open and break the clods of the ground? When he hath made plain the face thereof, does he not cast abroad the fitches, and scatter the cumin, and cast in the principal wheat, and the appointed barley, and the rye in their place? For God doth instruct him to discretion, and doth teach him. For the fitches are not threshing with a threshing instrument, neither is a cartwheel turned upon the cumin, but the fitches are beaten out with a staff, and the cumin with a rod. Bread corn is bruised, because he will not ever be threshing it, nor breaking it with the wheel of his cart, nor bruise it with his horsemen. This also cometh forth from the Lord of hosts, which is wonderful in counsel and excellent in working. So it takes a while to develop your soul, and your spirit. And there's a lot of work that has to be done. And how do you learn? You learn through trial and error. Okay? How many times did Edison fail before he came up with the light bulb? Failure instructs us. Failure is valuable. When you keep missing a shot, or a putt, or a free throw in basketball, you have to keep practicing to get that perfect every time repetition, okay? And then when you're called upon to use that skill, it's there and ready to go, okay? So it takes a while to get it perfected. And chapter 29, God's judgment upon Jerusalem, a promise of better things in succeeding times. Woe to I'll make sure I say this right. Arael, the city where David dwelt, added year to year. Let them kill sacrifices. Okay. Yet I will distress Arael, and there shall be heaviness and sorrow, and it shall be unto me as Arael. And I will camp against thee around about, and lay siege against thee with a mount, and I will raise forts against thee. And thou shalt be brought down, and thou shalt speak out of the ground, and thy speech shall be low out of the dust, and thy voice shall be as one that had a familiar spirit, out of the ground, and thy speech shall whisper out of the dust. Moreover, the multitude of thy strangers shall be like small dust, and the multitude of the terrible ones shall be as a chaff that passed away. Yet it shall be at an instant, suddenly. And thou shalt be visited of the Lord of hosts with thunder, and with earthquake, and with great noise, a storm and tempest, the flame of devouring fire. And the multitude of all the nations that fight against Arael, even at the fight against her and her minion, and that distress her, shall be a dream of a night's vision. It shall even be as when a hungry man dreameth, and behold, he eateth, but he awaketh, and his soul is empty. Or when a thirsty man dreameth, and behold, he drinketh, but he awaketh, and behold, he is faint, and his soul has appetite. So shall the multitude of all the nations be that fight against Mount Zion. Stay yourselves, wonder, cry out, cry, they that are drunkard, but not with wine, they that stagger, but not with strong drink. For the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of the deep, sleep, and hath closed your eyes, and the prophets and your rulers, seers, has he covered. And the vision of all is become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, Read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I cannot, for it is sealed. And the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, Read this, I pray thee. And he saith, I am not learned. Wherefore the Lord saith, For much as the people draw near me with the mouth and with their lips to honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men. Therefore, behold, I will proceed to do marvelous work among the people, even a marvelous work and a wonder, for the wisdom of their wise men shall perish, and understanding of their prudent men shall be hid. Woe unto them that seek it deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, that their works are in the dark, and they that say, Who seeth us, and who knoweth us? Surely your turning of the things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, He made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, He has no understanding? It is not yet a very little while, and Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field, and the fruitful field shall be esteemed as a forest. And in the day shall the deaf hear the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see out of obscurity and out of darkness. The meek shall also increase their joy in the Lord, and the poor among men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel. For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all watch for iniquity are cut off, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught. Therefore thus saith the Lord, who redeemed Abraham according to the house of Jacob, Jacob shall not now be ashamed, neither shall his face now wax pale. But when he seeth his children, the work of mine hands, in the midst of him, they shall sanctify my name, sanctify the Holy One of Jacob, and shall fear the God of Israel. They also that erred in the spirit shall come to understanding, and they that murder shall learn doctrine. Chapter 30. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, that covered with a covering, but of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen them in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. For his princes were at Zoan, and his ambassadors came to Hanes. They were all ashamed of a people that could not profit them, nor be a help nor profit, but a shame and also a reproach. The burden of the beast of the south into the land of trouble and anguish, from whence came the young and old lion and viper and fiery flying serpent, They will carry their riches upon the shoulders of young asses, and their treasures upon the branches of camels, to a people that shall not profit them. For the Egyptians shall help in vain, and to no purpose. Therefore I have cried concerning this. Their strength is to sit still. Now go, write it before them in a table, and note it in a book, that it may be for a time to come, forever and ever. This is the rebellious people, lying children, children that will not hear the law of the Lord, which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceits. Get out of the way, turn aside out of the path, cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. Wherefore, thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because you despise this word, and trust in oppression and perverseness, and stay thereon. Therefore this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant. And he shall break it as the breaking of the potter's vessel that is broken in pieces. He shall not spare, so that there shall not be found in the bursting of it a shard to take fire from the hearth, or to take water withal out of the pit. For thus saith the Lord God, Holy One of Israel, in returning and rest shall ye be saved, in quietness and in confidence shall be your strength, and ye would not. But ye said, no, for we will flee upon horses. Wherefore shall ye flee? And we will ride upon the swift. Therefore shall they that pursueth you be swift. 1,000 shall flee at the rebuke of one, and the rebuke of 5 shall ye flee, until ye be left as a beacon upon the top of a mountain, and as an ensign on a hill. Therefore will the Lord wait, and he may be gracious unto you. Therefore will he be exalted, that he may have mercy upon you. For the Lord is God of judgment. Blessed are all they that wait for him. For the people shall dwell in Zion, at Jerusalem thou shalt weep no more. He will be very gracious unto thee at the voice of thy cry. When he shall hear it, he will answer thee. And though the Lord God gave you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, you shall not, thy teachers, be removed in a corner any more, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers. Thine ears shall hear a word behind thee, saying, this is the way, walk in it, when you turn to the right hand and when you turn to the left. And you shall defile also the covering of any graven image of silver or ornament or molten image of gold. Thou shalt cast them away as a monstrous cloth. Thou shalt say unto it, get thee hence. Then shall he give the rain of thy seed, and thou shalt sow the ground withal, and the bread of the increase of the earth, and it shall be fat and plentiful. And in that day shall thy cattle feed in large pastures. The oxen likewise, and the young asses in the ear, the ground shall eat clean provender, which hath been winnowed with the shovel and with the fan. And there shall be upon every high mountain and upon every high hill rivers and streams of waters in the day of the great slaughter, when the towers fall. Moreover, the light of the moon shall be as the light of the sun. The light of the sun shall be sevenfold, the light of 7 days, and the days that the Lord bindeth up the breach of his people, and healed the stroke of their wound. Behold, the name of the Lord cometh from far, burning with his anger. The burden thereof is heavy. His lips are full of indignation, and his tongue as a devouring fire. And I'm going to stop there. Okay, and finish it up at a later time. I hope you have a great weekend. I'll be talking to you soon and maybe doing some music. Okay, bye-bye.